Okay. So go ahead and take a look at the first one. You're going to need your formula chart that has all the perfect squares down the side of it. So we're looking for the number off of that list that 90 can divide by. Can you tell me what it is? What number off your perfect squares list can 90 divide by? What did you say? 9. 9 is great. Okay, so you would break that down into 9 times 10. And remember that at first, they're both in square roots. But then what is the square root of 9? Because it's perfect. It's on the list. 3. So it'd be 3 root 10. And then you would say, but wait, in the front, I already had a -7. So then I can just times those two front numbers. -7 times 3 is -21. Okay, you will not get to use your test review, but you will get to use this paper. So as we're writing the examples, make little notes if you need them. Okay, number 2, no square roots are allowed on the bottom. So to fix it, we're going to do another root 5 on bottom and another root 5 on top. On top, you have a 20 root 2 root 5 over, what is root 5 times itself? 5. Regular 5, very good. Then from here, remember, numbers that are both in a square root, those can go together. Numbers that are both not in a square root, those can go together. So what I mean by that is the 20 divided by 5, I can do that. What is 20 divided by 5? 4. And then what's root 2 times root 5? Root 10. Okay, so remember, if they're both on the outside, do it. If they're both on the inside, do it. Okay, take a look at number 3. It says the sides are given so that x equals 7, y equals 11, and z equals 14. You're asked to find the area. So let's come over here to our little chart. Okay, we're looking for the area formula. Notice there are 2 of them. So the question is, did they give me side angle side or side side side? So looking at your thing, I see I have X, Y, and Z. They're all lowercase. That means this is the side side side. So I'm going to write the formula. Area equals S minus A, S minus B, S minus C. And then remember that S is going to be the sum of the sides. Okay, and then I actually forgot to include this on your notes last time, but really it's the sum of all the sides, and then you're supposed to divide it by 2. Okay, so we're going to add up all 3 sides and then divide it by 2. So let's do it for this question. In your calculator, add up 7 plus 11 plus 14. 7 plus 11 plus 14. Okay, what's your total sum? 32. Now divide it by 2. 16 is going to be your S. And you're going to put that in every little S spot under the square root. Then remember the A, the B, and the C are the sides that you have. So in the calculator, okay, I'm going to do big square root. The first S is alone, so that'll be a 16. Then 16 minus A will be 16 minus the first side, which is a 7. 16 minus B will be an 11. And then C is a 14. Okay, and you literally are just going to type that in. So I got 37. So let's maybe write the formula with the numbers plugged in so you can go back and look at it. So it's 16, 16 minus 7, 16 minus 11, 16 minus 14. And then that came out to be 37.9. Okay. Then this is also a great place for me to say most of your tests when you're solving triangles, it's multiple choice so that you can kind of like see if your answer's there. If you just put the answer though, you're not going to get credit. So make sure like if this was on your test, write this down and then put it in the calculator. You don't have to rewrite all this crap, but show a little bit of work so that I know what you put in the calculator. Okay, next question says, find the measure of the angle X. looking at the information that we have, we see that we have little x, little y, little z. We're looking for capital X. Should I use law of sines or law of cosines? Let's look at our formula chart. Law of sines, you have to have partners. That means you have an angle and a side of the same letter. Okay, so for the question I'm looking at, if I have only sides, all three of them, I can't use law of sines. I'm going to have to use law of cosines. Okay, then if I'm trying to find x, I'm going to do x squared equals y squared plus z squared minus 2yz cosine x. Okay, that's your law of cosines using x, y, and z instead of ABC. From there, we're plugging in numbers. Little x is a 7. Y is an 11. Z is a 14. Minus 2 leaves the 11 and the 14 cosine x. Then remember, when you're looking for this letter and you see that it's in the middle of kind of like the complicated side, you're going to group your numbers 1, 2, 3. What I mean by that is this guy goes alone, these two go together, these three go together. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. So put the 7 squared in your calculator. What are we going to get for that? 49. Then 11 squared plus 14 squared. 317. And then 2 times 11 times 14 gives me 308. Cosine x. Okay, then from here, what I saw a lot of people do in their test yesterday is they just tried to minus these numbers with each other. You cannot do that because the 308 is attached to the cosine. So remember that our next step would be to scribble out the 49, move it to the other side, and then we need to solve for x. So to get rid of the 317, what would I need to do to get it out of the front? Okay. Subtract it, very good. So I'm going to minus 317. In your calculator, you're doing 49 take away 317. That gives me negative 268. Negative 308 cosine x over here. Next step, how do I get rid of the negative 308 in the front? Divide it. And remember that that negative does need to be divided with the 308. So that now you have cosine x equals that fraction, and then how do we solve it from there? Second cosine or inverse cosine is correct. So in your calculator, you're going to do second cosine, negative 268, negative 308. And you would get, oops, I think I'm in radian mode. So let me fix mine and then type it in again. Okay, you want degree highlighted. If you got this answer, this is wrong. You're in the wrong mode. Okay, so let me type it in again. 29.5 degrees is correct. We're going to round that to 30 degrees. Now, if you are asked to find angle Y next, yes? Okay, if you are asked to find the next angle, do you need to do law of cosines again, or do you have partners now? You have partners now, correct. Oh, you use the minus sign. It needs to be this front one. See how the minus is a little bit shorter. So now we have partners. We have capital X and lowercase x. So that's now going to allow us to use law of sines. So set it up. I'm going to put, we have both x's. So law of sines. So it'll be sine capital X is 30 over little x is 7 equals sine y over little y, which is 11. And then from there, you're just going to cross multiply. 7 sine y, we're going to leave it alone. But sine 30 times 11, you're going to put that in the calculator. So calculate sine 30, close the parentheses, times 11. Yeah, I got 5.5 for that. Next step, divide that 7 out of the way. So that I have sine y is 5.5 over 7. And then what would my last step be? Second sine or sine inverse. Very good. So then in your calculator, second sine 5.5 over 7. Okay, my angle comes out to 51.7. We're going to round that to 52 degrees. Now, for the third angle, will I need a big fancy formula? They all have to add up to what? 180. So if I know there's a 30 and a 52, I can just minus those out of 180. That'll tell me what the last angle is. Okay, very good. So I'm going to put 180 minus 30 minus 52. And that tells me that z equals, yes, 90. Okay. All right. Go ahead and turn the page. We are not going to do all of the next one. We're just going to kind of set up the first 2 parts to make sure you remember how to do it. Okay, so for the next triangle, what's that? Okay, can you let me finish with that? Okay. Well, maybe go to class and come back in like 15 minutes. Okay. So you're not just waiting. Okay, next one, you have an angle and you have 2 sides and you're asked to find the area. So can you look on your formula chart for where the area equation is? Remember, there are 2 choices. But if I have side angle side, I want to use this one. 1/2 BC sine A. B and C are the sides. So area would be 1/2 10 times 19 and then sine 47. And then you just literally put that in the calculator. Okay. So 1/2 10 times 19 sine 47. My area would be 69.5. Okay, but remember, there's only 2 area formulas. You either use side, 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 or side angle side. Okay, let's say that I want to find, it says capital X, but obviously this is an ABC. So let's find capital, let's find little a. Change this to little a. So first question, I have big A, little b, little c. Do you have partners? Which partners do we have? We have to know both of them. We don't have partners. Then we can't use law of sines. Look what it says. Must have partners. We don't have that. So we have to use law of cosines. And if you read on here, it says use when you do not have partners. Also remember, we want to use the version that starts with the letter we're solving for. So if we're finding little a, we want to use this top one. So it'd be a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a. And then you're plugging in your numbers. Little a is my unknown. Little b is 10. Little c is 19. Reuse the 10 and the 19. Capital A is a 47. Okay, in this version, if your a squared is what you're looking for and it's already on its own side, you can type this whole crap in together. So just put it in the calculator. You don't have to break it down into 1, 2, 3 because all of this is already on the same side. So go ahead and type it in. So 10 squared plus 19 squared, 2, 10, 19, cosine 47. So I got 201.8. Is that my answer? No, that's a squared, so we got to take the And the square root of 201.8 gives me 14.2. Now, let's say that now you're asked to find, let's say this is going to be capital B. Since our thing says XYZ, but we know it's an ABC. Do I need to do law of cosines, or do I now have partners? Partners for which letter? We know both of the A's. We already knew capital A, but now we have the little a to go with it. So I'm going to do sine big A is 47 over little a is 14.2. And then if I'm trying to find big B, I would do sine big B over little b, which is a 10, and then cross multiply. So we would do 14.2 times sine B, just leave that alone. And then sine 47 times 10, we're putting that into the calculator. Okay, make sure you do need to close that parentheses if you type the sine 47 first. So I got 7.3. What's my next step with the 14? Divide it. And then once I get to there, how do I undo the SIN in front of the angle B that I'm trying to solve for? Inverse sine, very good. So capital B equals second sine 7.3 over 14.2. Okay, that gives me 31 degrees. Now, once you have two angles, to find the third angle, you're just doing 180 minus. So my capital A is a 47, my capital B is a 31, then my capital C would be 180 minus those two. Whatever's left over would go in that third angle. So 180 minus 47 minus 31, whatever's left over, that would be your capitals. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so we should know how to do area, law of sines, law of cosines. There's one other thing that we're going to review quickly, and it's just how to solve trig equations. So if you'll take a look at the first one there, number 16. Okay, what do I do first if I'm trying to solve for that little theta? Add the one is correct. So I'm going to do +1, +1. I already had a 2. I'm adding 1 to it, so now that's a 3. What's my next step? Divide the 7. Which means that cosine theta is 3 over 7. And remember, we don't care that this is a fraction, just leave it. Then how do I get rid of the cosine? Inverse cosine or cosine -1. And we're going to do it on both sides. Okay, go ahead and put that into your calculator. So that would be theta equals, and then second cosine 3 over 7 is 64.6. So we'll round that to 65. Okay, for this part of your test, it is multiple choice. Okay, but if you're getting a bunch of like 0.1, 0.2, you're probably in radian mode. Okay, degrees, you should be getting like 30 degrees, 50 degrees, that kind of stuff. Okay, number 17, what do I do first? Add the 2 is correct. In your calculator, do 0.732 plus 2. Okay, that'd go to 2.732. Now from here, you do not have a COT button on your calculator. You have a cosine, but you don't have a cotangent. So look on your little sheet. If I flip both sides, what will cotangent go back to? Tangent. They're partners. But if I flip this side to turn it back into a tangent, then I have to flip the other side as well. And I notice that it's not currently written as a fraction. How can I make it look like a fraction so I can flip it? Put a 1 on bottom. Very good. You have to flip both sides. So if this is a decimal, put it over 1. Now it's a 1 over 2.732. And then from there, how can we get rid of the tan? Inverse tan, yeah, in your calculator. But again, why can't I inverse cosine, cotan? Because I don't have a button for that already on my calculator. You only have sine, cosine, tangent. So I'm gonna write here, flip both sides and then second tan. Second tan 1/2.732. Okay, that comes out to 20 degrees. All right. Good, ready to go? Okay, make sure you have your little formula chart. You can keep your warm up out on your desk and then double check for me if you haven't already that you should see degree highlighted before you start your test. Okay, and I'll bring it around to you.